Law and Order Special Victims Unit, or what most people call it, SVU, has been around for a long time. This means that there have been tons and tons of seasons and countless episodes for fans to enjoy. But do you ever wonder what might be going on behind the scenes? Like what the actors get up to on set, or whether or not they actually get along? How about the craziest moments? Surprisingly, there are plenty of those that most fans might not have known. Here are some of Law & Order SVU's craziest behind-the-scenes moments. First off, did you know that Mariska Hargitay suffered a collapsed lung because of a stunt on set? Yeah, that's a pretty outrageous way to start this list. Back in 2008, she was doing a stunt where she was chasing a bad guy. She told Red Book magazine in 2009 how she had always liked to do stunts her own way. Until this incident, that is. She jumped and landed on the padding laid out for her. But on the second take, Hargitay could tell that something had gone wrong. She landed incorrectly and felt that something might be wrong inside her body. But regardless of her initial concern, she assumed the injury was something minor. A few months later, in January 2009, she was almost completely unable to breathe comfortably and get enough oxygen in. An X-ray revealed that her lung had actually collapsed. Something she thought was minor turned out to be pretty serious. It was 50% collapsed at the time of the X-ray, so they got her into surgery 2 weeks later. Just 2 months later, after she had already recovered and returned to work, she had to have yet another surgery in March after her lung collapsed again. In her 2009 interview, she reflected on how the whole thing was a complete eye-opener for her, especially as a mother.
I had to educate myself, and it was painfully eye-opening and really changed the course of my life.
She said that having a child changes everything, and suddenly you have so much you need to keep living for. This explains why she approaches stunts and the dangers of her job differently now. Hargitay said that sometimes something has to happen to help us understand our priorities clearer, and in the end, you can see the situation as a gift. That was a pretty crazy story to start us off, but I promise there's still so much more we need to talk about. For example, all of the many feuds that Ice-T has had over the years. That's right, there have been more than one. But these feuds weren't so much with co-stars. It had more to do with his rapping career and other social media feuds over the years. In 2007, he purposefully started his own feud with Soulja Boy after he released a diss track. In said track, Ice-T accused the other rapper of single-handedly killing hip-hop.
Maybe I'm wrong, you know? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe people like your kind of hip-hop, okay what I'm saying? Maybe nobody cares about lyrics no more.
Soulja Boy, in true 2000s fashion, responded in a YouTube video, and things just kept going from there. We don't even have time to go over every little comment sent back and forth over the years, but it sure did happen. In May 2017, things had pretty much died off for the most part, and there hasn't been any new beef as of recently. In yet another rap rivalry, he apparently had a conflict with LL Cool J for a while. There aren't as many public details with this one as of right now, but they were allegedly not getting along for a while. As of today, things seem to be going well. Ice-T also had beef with singer Amy Mann when she tweeted a rude comment about his acting. His response? Well, just hear for yourself. He tweeted, "Hey Amy Mann, stop worrying about my act and worry about your whack music. In the meantime, eat a hot bowl of." He's pretty good at getting the point across, isn't he? Well, Mann was quick to apologize once she knew he had seen the tweet, and he forgave her. He even followed it up by saying, "Once again, there's peace in Twitterland." Honestly, that whole situation is just hilarious. Moving on to something that's not so funny. Remember when longtime series regular Chris Maloney left the show? Have you ever wondered exactly what happened behind the scenes to make him leave the show? Well, the answer might surprise you. In 2011, the New York Times reported that he was unable to come to an agreement with the NBC executives for his new contract, so he decided to leave the show for good. Crazy, right? Especially considering how heartbroken fans were at his character, Stabler, who died in the show. Much later, Andy Cohen asked Maloney whether he regretted leaving the show after all these years. His answer? Not for a day.
Berated.
Do you regret leaving SVU?
Or not for a day.
Not for a day.
Not for a day.
How did you know when it was time to leave?
He didn't regret it at all. In fact, he claims that he believes the whole situation was handled poorly by the SVU team. On the bright side, we do have the countless episodes he starred in before the fall of his character.
Wednesday nights and every other weekend? That got to me.
Oh, yeah.
But honestly, was he right? Do you think that maybe the executives did handle the situation poorly? Or was Maloney too hungry for a raise? We'll never know. But if I had been on a show for over 10 years every week, I would want to be getting paid quite a bit. Just say. Anyway, moving on to another possibly more shocking secret from behind the scenes. Did you know that Ice-T was only supposed to be on the show for 4 episodes? That's right. It's pretty shocking considering he's now been on over 400 episodes. But originally he was only supposed to be there for 4 measly episodes. A more known fact is that he received some criticism for taking on the role. Given that his roots were in the rap industry, he's literally famous for singing a song called Cop Killer after all.
I can't hear you. Don't be afraid. I play one on TV. They can my
But taking on the job permanently was actually a pretty easy decision to make for the multi-talented actor. He said that once they told him they wanted to keep him on the show a little longer, he was pretty quick to accept. He liked to act and enjoyed the job. What more is there to consider?
It's kind of a don't ask, don't tell.
All right. I'll take the win. But next, we need to pursue charges against Mathis.
Another fact you might know if you pay very close attention when watching SVU. Did you know that they have reused actors for different roles across seasons multiple times? Yeah, some actors who were originally written off would later be asked to return to a new supporting role. It's happened a few times over the years, but here's one example. Diane Neal was first introduced to us as Assistant District Attorney Casey Novak starting in 2001 up to 2008, which means she started in Season 5. Except that actually isn't the first time the actress was on the show. In the Season 3 episode titled Ridicule, she played a bachelorette party attendee who is accused of assaulting one of the male strippers. This is one of the more notable instances of this happening, but it's happened with a few other actors in the series as well, such as Kelly Giddish and Peter Scanavino, who both first had small parts and were later introduced as characters in bigger and longer roles. And lastly, this may just be the most believable crazy thing from behind the scenes of this show. Did you know that a lot of the show is actually filmed in New Jersey, not New York? A lot of the scenes in the first 12 seasons were filmed there rather than in New York City. It was pretty surprising, but definitely not the most shocking of everything we've learned today. What do you think? Those were the craziest moments behind the scenes of Law & Order SVU.